Hi guys, I'm Greg Howlett, and I want to take a moment today and give you a little tip, something that'll help your music in a lot of different ways, and we call it pedaling or pedal points. Now when I talk about pedaling in this way, I'm not talking about the pedals that are underneath the piano. I'm not really interested in teaching you how to pedal with the pedals. Your normal music teacher can help you with that, but rather I'm interested in a specific technique that we use. When we refer to pedal points, we're really referring to playing a static bass note underneath normal harmony. Okay, so think of it this way. Really what it comes down to is this. We're going to play the normal harmony in our right hand, no changes to the original chords, but in the left hand we're going to play a static bass note. Okay, so a bass note's not changing, the chords on top are changing. And that is what's often called a pedal. Now let me give you a quick example of that. Holy, Holy, Holy is a typical hymn. The first four bars of Holy, Holy, Holy are 1, 6. I'm going to give you the chords in the first four bars. 1, 6, 5, 1, 4, 1. Okay, so that's how many changes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 chord changes in the first four bars of Holy, Holy, Holy. Okay, now we can actually pick a pedal note to play in the left hand underneath all of those chords, and it will actually sound good. There's actually two candidates for that, and we call them, we'll just for fun, we're going to call them pedal 1 and pedal 5. Because the two candidates are the root of the 1 chord and the root of the 5 chord. Okay, so we're in the key of D, so the root of the 1 chord is D, right? And the root of the 5 chord is A. So those are going to be known from now on through this video as pedal 1 and pedal 5. Those are the two most likely candidates as for use in this way. Now let me demonstrate this really quick. We're going to start with pedal 1, and I'm going to play the first four bars of Holy, 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 and I'm going to play pedal 1, which is D, underneath it. Now I'm going to do it really simple the first time. Just stay on a D octave, sort of on the quarter notes. Here's how it sounds. Okay, sort of an interesting sound, isn't it? The contrast between what's going on with that pedal note and some of the chords is quite nice, very interesting. I say quite nice. I've been watching this course lately. I've been learning too, and I'm studying this course that was done by the British, and they like to say quite nice, and so I've sort of picked it up. So, but anyway, that pedal point sounds quite nice. Let's do it with pedal 5. Okay, that was with a D in the bass. Now here it is with pedal 5, which would be an A in the bass. Okay, that also sounds good, doesn't it? But there's a big difference in the sound, actually a tremendous difference in the sound. And this is a subjective thing, but really, from my way of thinking, it comes down to this. If you use a pedal 1, the progression feels like variations on a 1 chord. Now the 1 chord is home bass, right, in any key. So a 1 chord feels sort of at rest. There's some dissonance there, but it doesn't really feel like it has to go anywhere. Okay, now the pedal 5 is very different, because if you use a pedal 5, all of a sudden all the chords start to sound sort of like versions of 5 chords. The 5 chord is the most unstable of all the chords. Therefore, it's going to feel like it needs to go somewhere. It's going to feel like it needs to resolve. Okay, so let's do it again. Here's the 1. Here's 5. Here's the big difference, right? One of them is screaming to go somewhere, the second one. The first one, just sort of nice and chill, right? Nice sounds, but not going crazy. There's no overwhelming need to change something, right? It feels sort of at rest. Now, the reason I bring that up is because from an artistic standpoint, the pedal 1 and pedal 5 will be chosen based on their purpose in a song. To give you a quick example of that, sort of how I would think with a song like Holy, 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 this song, I'm going to call it Holy 3 for short. That's what we do with my church, because if I say Holy, Holy, Holy a lot of times, my mouth starts tripping. So in this song, Holy 3, which is 16 bars long, the first 4 bars and the third set of 4 bars are the same. It's this line right here. Right? Okay. Now, you could use a pedal at different places in the song, but those are 2 obvious places that sound good with the pedal. And so, which to use? Pedal 1 or pedal 5? I'm going to use pedal 1 on the first 4 bars because it's the beginning of the verse and it's not really going anywhere yet, sort of chill. But on the third set, when I go back to the pedal again, I'm going to go to pedal 5. And the reason why is because the climax of the song is actually the first beat of bar 13. God in 3 persons. That's the where the melody is the highest. That's the climax of the verse. So we're going to use the pedal 5 to build to that point. All right, so the pedal 5 is actually serving a purpose. All through that third set of 4 bars, we're moving toward the climax. Let's do it. By the way, the other 2 sets of 4 bars, we're just going to leave alone. We're going to play the normal harmony. Here's what we got. Pedal 1. Okay, so you see how I use the pedal 5 to set up the climax with that. Again, this is not a right or wrong thing. I'm just telling you sort of how I would think about it. Or if I wasn't thinking about it, it would just sort of be, what's the word? It just happens because I've been playing the piano for a long time. And so I just feel some of these things instinctively. So I would instinctively go to a 5 there. But if I stop and think about it, that's why I choose to go to a 5 there, because we're building the song through that section. It's just a good rule of thumb. If you want the song to be chill, pedal 1. If you're trying to go somewhere, build a need for resolution and so on, use pedal 5. Okay? Now this is something, the guys, that I use every single week in church. In my church, I can get away with a lot because I'm the only person playing down low. We actually keep the singers on melody. We use violins, but I'm the only person playing rhythm and low, so I can get away with changing the bass notes, and I will use pedals a lot. Now, let me show you one other quick thing. This is another slightly more interesting use of a pedal, and I'm going to use the same song. Let me set this up by saying this. In my church, I run the music from the piano. And what I would do if I was doing this song, 9 times out of 10, is I would do the first verse sort of quiet. And then the second verse, I would speed it up and get back to a more typical rhythm or tempo. And then coming out of the second verse, I would probably do a modulation to a new key and make it huge. So the last verse is really, really big and aggressive and sort of pomp, what's the word? Like a king is coming, okay? Sort of just big and majestic. And majestic, that's the word I'm looking for. Now, the verse that I just played for you is probably most typically like I might do the second verse, okay? So think of what I just did as the second verse. Coming out of the second verse, moving to the third verse, I'm going to use a pedal. Again, we're trying to build the intensity. We're going to slow it down and make it huge. And I'm going to use a pedal to do that. Okay, we're going to use a pedal plus a modulation. Now, based on what I just told you, if I asked you which pedal do you think I would use, I hope you would say pedal 5, right? So when we end the song on the second verse, when we end that second verse, I'm going to shift right to a pedal 5 and build it into a modulation. Okay, so I'm going to play pedal 5 for a bar, and then I'm going to play 2/5 to the new key, which is the key of E flat, the key we have here. And then we're going to start the last verse. Okay, so here it is. This is the last line of the second verse. Here we go. do that one more time, but I think you sort of understand what I'm doing there. Again, I am using the pedal 5 to create drama, and it leads into my 2/5 into my new key. I'm going to slow it down, and all of a sudden we have a huge, huge sound. Here it is again. Okay, and I sort of want to keep playing now, but that is sort of what I would do. So that's an application of using a pedal as a modulation. You can get really artistic with this, but again, this is something that you probably can use in your church in a lot of situations. Maybe in some cases you may play with a bass player, and you might work this out with them ahead of time. Very, very common in lots of music to use these kind of pedals or pedal points or whatever you want to call them. Static bass notes and playing chords above them. It's a really, really nice sound. Hope that helps. I'll see you later in future videos.